let's move on to Raiders Chiefs. Raiders coming off a 30-23 loss to the Bills. And very thankful that Birdie kept me off the Raiders. I wanted to move on them at plus 3.5, but that was going to be too juiced at the time. And Bebsy was trying to push me onto the Bills first half, which wasn't an easy casher, but a casher, and that's all that is important. Derek Carr finished 32 of 44 for 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's yet to throw an interception this year. And I like what he's saying in the media. I don't look at it as whining, and I understand that some people can. I look at it as frustrated and wanting to be a winner badly. Josh Jacobs, 15 rushes for 48 yards, not good enough. Waller bounced back after a tough game, caught 9 passes for 88 yards. Renfro, 5 passes for 57 yards. But the Raiders are just so banged up. You have a defensive tackle, Maurice Hurst, just a few hours ago put on the COVID list. And what is going to bang out from that is questionable. I don't know. So this just happened. Maurice Hurst on the COVID list. Henry Ruggs, Rico Gafford, Brian Edwards all missed the Bills game. So that's 3 wide receivers. Trent Brown missed the Bills game. He's listed as questionable. Running back Jalen Richard hurt his ankle versus the Bills. He's questionable. LaMarcus Joyner was forced out of the Sunday's game with a rib injury. He's questionable. And then Malik Collins injured his shoulder in the third quarter and did not return. So they're banged up. Cash Action says KC in the under. Dennis Garcia says, I want to play the under. Chiefs are coming off a tighter game than the score would indicate in that 26-10 win over the Pats last night. Mahomes 19 of 29 for 236 yards. Edwards-Helaire 16 for 64. It wasn't until the Honey Badger had that pick 6 that you could get comfortable if you had action on the Chiefs. They are a very healthy group, but Chris Jones is on the injury report. So, he was out with a groin injury. It sidelined him in practice last week. And then Mike Dana joined him with a hamstring injury. So defensive tackle, defensive end. But other than that, they are healthy. Kevin Movita says Chiefs will eat the Raiders alive. Let's see what we're dealing with. Chiefs open up at minus 12.5. They're now minus 13. This total's at 56. And I guess I'm reading too much into what I saw against the Pats, but to me, 13 is too many points. Just too many points. Betsy, what do you think of the Raiders Chiefs?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. 13's a lot of points. But remember what I said about Bill Belichick facing the Chiefs. He had that game scheduled for months. And if you watch, he is getting better and better at defending Mahomes and that Chiefs offense all the time. So that score, if anything, is an indication of Belichick being Belichick more than it is the Chiefs, not being as good as we think they are. The Chiefs are very good. And the Oakland defense is getting exposed lately. They have some injuries. And frankly, that was the problem with them at the start of the year. Their offense looked like they could put it together. Their defense was a big question mark. I just wonder about a slightly shorter week for the Chiefs playing a divisional game. It's not a game I to be honest with you, I want to take the Chiefs at plus, or the Raiders at plus 13. I just can't. It's so hard to bet against this Chiefs offense because they can score in bunches. We've seen how fast they can throw up 25, 35, 45 points. It's nuts.
This is nuts. And Birdie's right. There's a couple interesting comments from the chat, and I would like to talk about them both. One, we know that the books are rich, because of VIG, obviously, but because of the NFL. That's why they make all their money. And here they put out a line asking for you to say, go ahead, bet the Raiders. Go bet the Raiders here. Bet the Raiders, which makes me uncomfortable. And that's what Birdie's talking about. Robert Allen says, bounce back game. See what the Chiefs did after the Chargers game versus Baltimore. They're going to play much better this week and bounce back. What do you think of those two statements from the chat?
You know what? I tend to want to agree with it. because the NFL loves their offense, and this is what the Chiefs are. They are an absolute powerhouse. There's also I'm sort of distracted because there's a bunch of guys saying exactly what I think and thought when Gruden got rehired as a coach he is they're saying lovable but overrated. He hasn't shown that he can adapt to today's game. He still wants to play, in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think his brain is still there, and frankly, the game has changed a ton. Now, if you look at what he assembled on offense, you're like, okay, no, look, he gets it. But I'm still seeing his in-game decisions. He's just getting out-coached in a lot of situations. Andy Reid never left the game. He's the epitome of what today's NFL is. So, and I love what you said about the books teasing you to, urging you to take the Raiders in this. And I've almost talked myself into the Chiefs just with what was said in the last 30 seconds.
Interesting, because I've talked myself off of the Raiders. So
yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, you've talked yourself off the Raiders. I've kind of talked myself into the Chiefs while I was leaning Raiders. But
well, let's move to this total, 56. And Dennis has already talked about how long it takes this Raiders team to put points up on the board. It takes them a ton of time. I mean, an offense that's predicated on Jacobs and Waller is going to take time on any successful drive. Do you think that 56 is too high?
Well, it's hard to ever think 56 is too high when the Chiefs are playing a bad defense, because the Chiefs are more than capable of hanging 40 points on their own. So that's the kind of thing that scares me off taking the Chiefs. If they get up too fast and too much, they take their foot off the gas, and then they're going to hit the under. But if a team can exchange body blows with them throughout the game, then it's going to be an over by a massive amount. So I think the Chiefs are one of the more difficult teams to bet on point total if they're playing a weak opponent. If they're playing a good opponent, I love the over, because I see them getting into a shootout, but I don't see this getting into a shootout. I see the Chiefs getting up early and then just cruising to victory, which is another reason why the 13 scares me.
I agree with you.
So, look, you could get a backdoor cover, but there are a lot of hurt Raiders as well. So,
no, I agree. I think the play is the under. I think that was such a sharp, salient point that if you can fight fire with fire, Chiefs will get you that over. But if you could just beat up on a football team, Andy Reid will start running the ball and just ensure the comfortable victory and get out of Dodge.
Curiosity, what are the first half totals looking like?
Let's pull them up right now. The first half total is sitting at 28. A couple books are hanging 27.5, which is a very important half point.
Doesn't excite me.
Well, I tell you what.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me.
It excites me. I'm on the under 56. I think it's just too many points. I think it's ridiculous. And watching the Chiefs go up. I mean, what did you think watching that game last night with 19 of 29 for 236 yards from Mahomes? I mean, when you were watching the Chiefs have such difficulty moving the ball, and I know you have great respect for Belichick, but what were you thinking about that Chiefs offense? They just didn't have to, because I think it goes back to the point where if you fight fire with fire, then Chiefs will put up the points, but the Raiders aren't going to be able to fight fire with fire, and the Chiefs will just comfortably win and run the clock.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why you lean towards the under. But as far as the game last night, I saw a Patriots defense that was designed to come out and stop the Chiefs because, again, Bill's a mastermind. And if you watch each game he's played against this offense under Mahomes, he's gotten better. He's figuring it out. That defense, although they're missing guys like Patrick Chung and Donta Hightower because they opted out, look, it's still a Belichick run defense. This guy can grab, ex-hockey players and be like, you know how to do this, right? Get in there. Like, he's such a mastermind at dissecting offenses, and I think you saw a lot of it last night. And like you said, the score indication, if it wasn't for Edelman dropping that pass and bumping it right into Matthews' arms, that's a very different looking score and potentially a different game. So I think the Chiefs come back hot in this game, but again, it's so easy for them to get off early and start blowing this team up and then be like, okay, we can cruise. And Birdie was saying that, yeah, they're staring at 5-0 and they just want to get through the game. All the more reason for them to pour on points early and then just go into cruise control, which I think is the dangerous part of both the spread and the under. Or sorry, the over.
Dennis Garcia, very interesting point, says Kansas City defense had Herbert with no time to prepare, Watson and Jackson, and they've yet to give up more than 20 points. Where does Carr rank against those quarterbacks?
I think, Carr is obviously not Jackson, but I think Carr has been unfairly disrespected, I think, over his career. I don't love him, but I think he's a good quarterback. He throws a nice ball. He's either had no O-line and good weapons or no weapons and a good O-line. He's finally got a good balanced offense in a system that he's been able to play in for a few years in a row now. So I think you're seeing, and to be fair, he's put up decent numbers throughout his career. He gets hated on, and I don't fully understand it. I think there's a lot of teams that could use Carr over their starting quarterback. So yeah, I think Carr is an average to above average quarterback, and some of the aforementioned players are in the same boat.
All right, I like this breakdown. It was fun.
Al Mack makes a good point. You cry on the field, and I'm not going to love you. And I kind of got over that, and I kind of let it go. I also don't like that it always looks like he's wearing mascara. It's just weird. But that's just he's got them weird Carr eyelashes. Creeps me out.
He's a goth quarterback, man. Always has been. Under 56 for me. Raiders, Chiefs. Under 56 is what I'm going to be moving on.
You going to roll with it?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to pull you in and out very quickly here. Bebsy, pull you in and out. See if we can get that. All right. We're going to move into Cardinals, Jets. And Cardinals, Jets. And before we do go, did that first half at Chiefs -7 interest you, or did just stay off was your plan?
Well, you didn't mention that. You said total, but you didn't mention the spread.
-7 Chiefs across the board.
-7 does that kind of like that, actually. Chiefs -7 first half?
Yep.
I can get behind that.
Well, you don't need to lock it in right now if you don't want to, but you can if you'd like.
You know what? Let me think about this, and we'll circle back to the end of the show, but I kind of like that play.
Nilo is on it. I'm going to put Bebsy right there, first half, just so I can bring it back to you. All right, let's keep rolling here. We move on to Cardinals, Jets. Cardinals, Jets. Let's see what we are dealing with right now. Wow. Let me just move that to full game. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Cardinals open up at -7.5. That's not available.
Dick Vermeil used to cry like a real man. Mr. Fun Monk is a bit of a chat room all-star tonight. I love this guy.
He is succeeding. And Gate Pass Key, Dennis Garcia. We got a bunch of great cappers. Prince of the City, Birdie, Al Mag, Viper, Lance LaRose. A lot of guys, Dennis Garcia, a lot of guys, Steel Curtain, Cash Action. Okay, good group. Let's make some money.